Before we get started, this video has been a very long-awaited suggestion by many of the Subscribestar bros. You thought we were free from mecha? Nuh-uh. You're not that lucky. And it is an interesting one, so let's get ready for Godannar.
Loli doesn't actually have an intro for this video. He's been running low on ideas. Instead, old Uncle Saul will spend some time with you guys. It's been a while. So how are things? You doing all right in school? You know, school is important. You need to keep up with your studies, not waste your life doing nothing but watching those Japanese cartoons and playing video games. Find a mentor, someone that will teach you different lessons in life. A good list for potential mentors are your local homeless people. They're eager to teach the new generation all sorts of useful life skills, like how to get addicted to alcohol or narcotics, how to break into a mattress store for a good night's sleep, or how to stab someone with a shiv you make out of a piece of glass and a moldy tube sock. And if you get arrested practicing some of these skills, just remember to better call Saul, because you have rights, unless you're Walter. That guy's only right should be to drive into incoming traffic. All right, time's up for my cameo. Enjoy the video.
Godannar, I'm pretty sure that's how you pronounce that. I'm not even going to try. Why would I? Why would I even try? So this anime is one that's a tad overshadowed compared to other mecha series. It's not as famous as Gundam, doesn't have quite the following Big O got. Obviously, it's nowhere near as revered as something like Gurren Lagann, Evangelion, you get the idea. All in all, not a lot of people really remember Godannar. It's not bad, but it definitely got buried amongst the titans. So the basic concept is this. Humanity is threatened by a race of monsters known as mimetic beasts. Massive kaijus capable of growing at an insane rate and causing massive devastation. To combat this, humanity creates an arsenal of advanced mech suits with enough firepower to handle the monsters. Very traditional setup. A lot of people have even compared this to Pacific Rim in the fact that, yeah, this is pretty much average for a mecha series. It's an anime created by Yasuchika Nagoika. I had to take it slow on that one. Coming out in 2003. It's 26 episodes in total, 2 quick seasons all in all. The focus on the stories of the duo protagonists, Go Sawatari and Anna Oi. These names are gonna fucking kill me. Go is an experienced pilot that has been fighting the monsters for years, while Anna is a relatively normal girl, though her mother is one of the directors of the mecha project. Still, Anna isn't involved with all the carnage and warfare, until an incident happens. When a mimetic beast attacks Japan, Anna is nearly killed, but is saved by Go at the last second. Due to this, the two develop a romantic bond very quickly and are engaged to be married, but on the day of their wedding, 5 years since the monsters staged an attack, Go is suddenly pulled from the altar. The mimetic beasts have returned. Anna, being angry that their wedding was interrupted, follows him and ends up stumbling into an experimental model mech, which she's able to pilot and help Go kill the beast. From there, Anna is introduced into the organization responsible for protecting the world from the monsters, made up of different nations with their own gimmicks and strategies to handle the beasts. And as the war escalates once again, more is revealed about the origins of the mimetic beasts and the growing threat nobody sees coming. So Godannar sounds like kind of a grim, gritty mecha series about how humanity's pushed to the brink due to the monsters and there's tragedy on the horizon. Nah, not really. Godannar is definitely an action story, but it's more of a comedy than anything really intense. I mean, people do die, bad things do happen, but compare this to even a mid-level Gundam series and it can feel like a breeze in comparison. It's more of a romance story, since a lot of the focus is on Anna and Go's relationship, balancing being engaged with their jobs as mech pilots, and it covers a lot of tropes you'd expect from a rom-com series. Being embarrassed to express their emotions to each other, petty arguments due to miscommunication or misunderstanding, even a love triangle. Now I say all this, but don't go in expecting it to just be about the rom-com stuff. No, there's plenty of action as well. Lots of fights between mechs and big monsters, and the fights are pretty good. There's a sort of tokusatsu vibe to it all, at least how I saw it. Every pilot has their thing and they play into it. Different gimmicks, different special moves, hell, there already is a video game if you're already asking. And the whole idea is that each one does feel distinct and tries to give their own sort of flavor to it all. The main gimmick with Anna and Go is that they can fuse their mechs together to create an even stronger one. They set this up by having a lot of the early episodes feel a bit like Monster of the Week, setting the stage and getting used to the flow of things before it starts building up a larger plot. And there is a full story it starts to tease and kind of work towards, but that's spoiler stuff we'll talk about later. All you gotta know is that things go from relatively manageable to really chaotic come season 2. But before we talk about that, yeah, we gotta explain some more. The main cast is easy to kind of see what their thing is and how they fit into the story. You have the main duo, Go and Anna. Anna is the cutesy normal girl and Go is the level-headed anime protag. Simple characters, but they do their job for what the story asks of them. Go is several years older than Anna, so he's torn between seeing her as an equal partner and seeing her as more of a little sister. Anna, while being an outsider to the world of mecha and having to work harder to keep up with everyone else, does show a natural affinity for it. And she quickly shows she can hold her own in a fight and contribute in her own way. She's normal, sure, but she's not a coward. The two do care for each other, and a lot of the tension in some episodes revolve around one having to save the other. It's kind of a massive aspect come season 2. Whether it be Anna getting in over her head or Go needing to accept help from Anna despite his fears. Their bond is a major aspect of the story. And yeah, come the ending, they cash in on all the tension when they introduce a certain mechanic to the plot. There's other characters as well, but they're kept as supporting cast and don't really impact what's going on. They're mainly supplementary to different fight scenes, reacting to what's going on around them and just sort of, waiting for the major characters to explain what's going on. And I mean, yeah, they do have their own little subplots, and some are more important than others. Shizuru, one of the side characters, ends up getting more of a presence as the show goes on, which is good because she's great. Personally, I think she's one of the best. Anna's mom is also pretty great. Now, some side characters are better than others. The guy who wants to bang his sister he was alright, but he's just sort of there. He gets one episode where some major plot shit happens, at least in retrospect, but beyond that, he's just kind of there to fly the exposition plane, because the sister analyzes the monsters and explains the weaknesses and the data TM. Now, the actual fights themselves are fun to watch. There's a lot of good detail to the animation, and they don't hold back on the destruction they can cause, both the monsters and the robots. Really, at times, episodes can kind of feel like you're mainly waiting for the fights to start, beyond anything else. They can tend to drag a tiny bit, especially since some of the episodes, not gonna lie, are just kind of dry. The show isn't perfect. Some of the humor can feel repetitive or just not land the best. Granted, when it hits, it can be genuinely funny, and the actual main story is kind of interesting. When it starts building up the mystery and the different factors at play, it's pretty cool. Granted, you don't get answers for everything. You still don't really know what the mimetic beasts actually are. You get some teases for explanations, but the full story's never really laid out. Easy answer is they're aliens, and that's pretty much what you're expected to operate off of anyway. So, they're just aliens. And granted, they have a pretty cool gimmick, at least how I see it. But it's not really shooting for anything special, which is kind of the vibe all around for Godannar. It's trying to keep it as to the basics as it can, from everything from the music, to the storyline, to the characters. Granted, the mecha designs are pretty cool. I like the fact they can kind of look like a mixture of an actual, more so bulky combat robot, like something from a, Getter Robo, and something more in line with Evangelion, where it's trying to mimic more of an actual living being. It's kind of cool. I like that. The designs for the monsters can kind of vary. Some are more basic than others, but when it does decide to go nuts with it, they can get pretty out there. They become more of like these amalgamations of meat or some kind of organic matter more than anything traditionally like an animal or like anything recognizable. And I thought that was cool. And it does fit in regards to the gimmick they have. Now, the gimmick is spoiler stuff, so here's a warning for those that have not seen Godannar. It's a more niche mecha series, so assuming a lot of you guys just plain haven't watched this yet, sit down and give it a watch. It's a quick one, just 26 episodes, and it does have a lot of good fights to it.
Saul never left, bitches.
So the actual plot that's being built up in Godannar is that the mimetic beasts never actually went away when they first invaded. They actually infected mankind with a virus, the Insania virus. This virus mutates human DNA and has two radical differences between the genders. Men, when it activates, mutates them into mimetic beasts. The monsters are actually men who transformed, which is why they suddenly reappeared out of nowhere. It's highly contagious, and even the mech pilots are not immune to it. Women have a different effect. Most are asymptomatic carriers, since the virus is activated by a spike in male hormones. But for a few women, the virus changes their DNA, allowing them to recover from wounds that should kill a normal human, and they also produce the natural antibodies needed to cure the virus. A large part of the story is discovering the Insania virus and the impact it has on humanity. It goes from simply blowing up the big monster to realizing anyone around you is a potential time bomb. It also explains how these things can just pop up out of nowhere. While at first they seemingly vanished, humanity now realizes the beasts never left planet, simply going quiet, biding their time for the virus to spread and then activate as a new wave. Another thing to mention is exactly how they discovered the difference between how it impacts men and women. Go had a previous love interest before Anna, Mira. Mira was originally Go's partner, an exceptional pilot and warrior that could hold her own very well against mimetic beasts, even piloting an earlier version of the mech that Anna now uses. Unfortunately, she's seemingly killed in an engagement years prior, along with numerous other members of Go's team. One by one, surviving members are found, with Mira being one of the first. Their mechs were consumed by the beasts and merged into the mimetics. The male members are infected by the virus, while Mira is shown to be mutated into a different entity. Physically, she's still the same. Mentally, her mind is completely wiped, reverting back to essentially being a newborn, needing to be taught everything from how to speak to the alphabet, though she is quickly regaining her senses, far beyond the expectations of the scientists, even eventually coming back to her original level. She's not the only one who ends up being mutated by the virus. Shizuru has the exact same thing happen to her, showing that this is a pattern they could follow in research. You also have a lot of the women who ended up being asymptomatic carriers, having children that were born with the antibodies as well. And obviously, this all plays into the ending, where they discover that the way to cure the virus lies in Mira and the second-generation children. Their DNA is evolving and fighting off the contamination. The Insania virus becomes a massive factor for the ending, as even Go is infected by it, and the entire endgame revolves around saving him before he mutates into one of the mimetic beasts. The twist is actually kind of interesting, even if it doesn't really get the detail it probably should. Like, we know it came from space, but is it just a natural thing the aliens do? Infect species with a virus and that's how they reproduce? Maybe, but it's not 100% clear. And it's also not really the point, it's more so trying to be fun instead of trying to flesh out everything. Like, the explanation for the robots is just that they built them, which to be fair is all you really need. We don't need every answer for every detail, but the aliens themselves are in that gully of not knowing as much as we really should, at least in regards to building up an endgame. Still, the anime by and large is fun, and it's not perfect. Some even think this is basically just generic. Personally, I thought it had charm to it. The fights are fun, and the characters are at the very least fun to watch. I'm about to say it's an underrated masterpiece, but I'm happy I saw it. No, it's not reinventing the wheel. It's a relatively simple story that tries to do what it can as best it can do it. Whether or not you like Godannar really comes down to whether or not you like the characters. Personally, they were decent enough fun to follow. Once again, they don't really do anything crazy or different. Go is a pretty basic anime protag that even eventually gets a soft harem. Anna is the typical plucky anime girl that shows she's more than capable than people expect of her. Her mom is the much hotter one that really should have been the main love interest. It's the basics, but well done basics. Granted, some people just aren't looking for that. They want something grander or more complicated. And mecha especially is a genre filled with that. There's all kinds of different franchises and IPs out there to enjoy. It comes down to whether or not you can enjoy a simple time killer over something that is trying to be grander scale. Obviously, this doesn't have the world building of something like Macross or even Blue Gender. You know what you're getting into at Godannar, but that's not always a bad thing. Hell, sometimes that's kind of what you're in the mood for. Just flip it on while you're playing a video game and enjoy a decent night. But it's also one of those things where if someone says they couldn't get into it, I fully understand. They simply wanted more. Hell, even the fan service kind of falls into this too. This is a pretty fan service heavy show, but at the same time, there's simply more explicit stuff out there, even for mecha. It's more like a spice that people that are into ecchi can enjoy while not really taking too much of the focus away. It has sex jokes, yeah, and a lot of women have booba jiggle. There's a lot of camera shots that are showing their ass, but it never goes anywhere as hard as some stuff that was even coming out at the time. Some teasing shots here and there, a boob joke now and then, but eh. And really, that sort of encapsulates Godannar as a whole. It's good, but there's better. You can have fun with it, especially if you turn your brain off and enjoy spectacle, but aficionados might be left thinking, that's it? Still, it might work as a good introduction for people looking to get into mecha. It covers a lot of the bases that most every franchise uses, and the robots are the best part of the show. The action is fun to watch. Tons of good fights, and they only get crazier as the series goes on, especially as they delve into the mutations, where you see all the fun fusions between monster and mech. Still, that's Godannar. It's a fun little gem to check out. Can't promise you'll love it, but I think at the very least you'll think it's decent. Sometimes it's good to just unwind with something trying to be fun. Not mind-blowing, not life-changing, just kinda cozy. And hey, it's got decent enough fan service. A chick's ass is too fat to fit in the mech. That's fun. Yeah, this is a fun series. Even if the main guy kind of fucks with me because he looks like a mixture of Vash Stampede and that one guy from Fullmetal Alchemist. You see it too, right? I'm not crazy. Mecha is a fun genre, and it's been fun to do this little deep dive the last few weeks, especially for stuff that isn't as big as Gundam. There's a lot out there, more than you would think, and we haven't even scratched the surface. Like, yeah, Gundam and Eva are the big ones, obviously, but we didn't even mention stuff like Fullmetal Panic. Still, this is just a quick look. Everything else is very much still on the table. But for now, we must wave goodbye to the mecha genre. There's still so much to cover. It's gonna be a wild year. There's a lot on the table. To say the least. It's looking at me. It's waiting. Regardless, these quick little videos have been fun. Mecha is a good genre, definitely check it out. There's so much you can find in it to like. Whether it's stuff we already covered, or something else you stumble into on your own. There's an ocean out there, and everyone likes big stompy robots blowing shit up. It's really hard to say no to. But do you know what else is hard to say no to? Gamer subs, use code TALA at checkout, use the code. Use the code, we might get a cup design if we keep using it, use the code. Use the code. Use the code or you never have a MILF scientist shove her booba in your face. Use the code. That's all I have to say about Godannar. It's a little hard to track down legit copies, but it's always available on your favorite part site of choice. Sadly, all too common story. Still, here's something to watch this week. That's never a bad thing. Until next time, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. See you guys. Hey, loser. Do you want a shirt? Do you want a t-shirt? I have shirts now. Look in the description for a link to a t-shirt you can buy. If you don't buy the t-shirt, I'll kill your family. If you don't buy the t-shirt, I'll poison your dog. If you don't buy the t-shirt, you're going to be the only person in town that does not have a t-shirt. Everyone's going to look at you funny. There's going to be social consequences to not having one of these t-shirts. I'm now making express threats of violence against you if you do not buy my t-shirt. I will call the police, tell them how you're not buying my shirt. They're gonna plant crack in your house, and they're gonna arrest you and then beat you up in a jail cell. Buy my shirt.